Good afternoon and welcome to Ready Row USA. We are coming to you live. We hope that you'll post questions for our esteemed guest, CB Sands-Bohrer at Community Rowing, and we'll be talking about the Institute for Rowing Leadership today and the relaunch of it. Hi, CB.
Good morning or good afternoon.
Hi. Yes, it's morning somewhere from.
Yeah.
At the Olympics, it's morning. Anyway, I will go through a little bit of an introduction about the podcast and live stream to whoever is new to it. We are at this production. We're on a mission to connect, collaborate with, and grow the rowing community. We talk to people like trainers, elite athletes, masters of a certain age, like myself, and we talk to boathouses, vendors, artists, artisans, and hopefully you. If you'd like to contact us, just visit the website and all the information is there to get a hold of us, and our podcast or our archives are on there. So we love rowing. We love talking about rowing, hanging out with rowers. And we have seen firsthand that rowing changes lives. We're dedicated to advocating for inclusion, access, and diversity in the sport. And we'd love to have you chime in on these topics and anything related to rowing in the United States or beyond and beyond. But in particular, nothing gives us a greater thrill than seeing that little notification dot on Instagram or Twitter. And our audience gets personal attention to questions, comments, and episode suggestions. And our sponsors and partners receive value that far exceeds our investment. That's kind of our policy. We like to be out ahead of that. So join us on the live stream like this one. And if you're listening on your podcast apps, please check the show notes. We will have updated show notes where you can view the images that we may be talking about. We try not to be too referential about the images, but they're there for visual relief, as CB and I were talking about a while ago. But so as I said, we're talking about the Institute for Rowing Leadership today, and this is something that I have observed in my years as a member of Community Rowing, where the program resides. And CB will be telling us a lot about it. That's her in front of the Hudson boats at Community Rowing, and my happy place. It's behind me too. Hi, CB.
Hello.
Good to see you. Yeah, I just wanted to mention that we have 3 fabulous sponsors. Good Inklings developed this website. It's our new website at readyrowusa.com. Sykes USA and Resolute are sponsors that joined last year, as well as Burnham Boat Slings. So everybody has one of those fabulous Burnham boat covers, and we love that company. All 3 companies, in fact. And goodinklings.com. That's Laura Williams is my website designer, and I could not exist without her. So thank you, Laura. So CB, let's get started on talking about the IRL, which I've observed for years at CRI, and then tell us a little bit about your background and the history of the IRL, just in a nutshell, if you can.
Sure. The IRL has been around for about 10 years. We generally have a cohort of 8 to 12 coaches that come to the IRL for 1 year for a certificate in coaching leadership. Basically the IRL exists to pretty much jumpstart somebody's coaching career. So whether you're a new coach that's just starting out, maybe you're in a career coaching and you want to do something different, you want to start your own rowing club, the IRL is a great place to get your career, as I said, jump-started.
Has it always been this number of people, like around 8 to 12? Or?
Yeah, 8 to 12. I think we've occasionally had 6 or 7 once or twice. I don't think we've ever had more than 12. I have not been involved with it particularly a lot until the past year or so, post-pandemic. We took a year off during the pandemic, or a couple of years, because just an integral part of the IRL is to have a hands-on coaching happening while you're in the IRL, so that you can go back and forth from the classroom to the water and back again, and try things that you've learned in the classroom on the water, come back to the classroom again, and share that learning with the class. And that way, we've found that your learning really gets intensified, because not only do you learn from your experience with that, but you also learn from everybody else, the other fellows in the classroom, what their experiences were. So for a couple of years, we were on a hiatus because of the pandemic, because there just wasn't a predictable amount of coaching happening. And but we're relaunching, and we will start up again in August this year.
Yeah, I think that there's always a need for coaches. It seems like it's particularly not hard to get a coach now, but it's, one of the organizations I'm involved with has been looking for a coach for about 6 months. And it's an after school thing. So it's, special hours and stuff. But I have up on the screen, if you're watching, the hallmarks that you gave me for the CRI Institute for Rowing Leadership. Can you just go through them briefly, and then we'll get into some of the questions that people had about the program?
Sure. So most of the coaches that come to the IRL feel like rowing has been a life-changing experience for them. And so they want to bring that to other athletes. So that's a big part of why people come to the IRL initially. We operate under the mission of CRI, and the mission for CRI, generally speaking, is rowing for all. We've always tried at CRI to broaden the rowing community, and we want to really elevate that. So I see the IRL is really, it's coaching for all. We strongly encourage people of color, women, LGBTQIA+, people with disabilities, older candidates. If you really want to be committed to learning and growth as a coach, we'll help you succeed on that path.
And has that diversity been reflected in past cohorts, or is it something you're just really focusing on now? Because I know that this is a huge issue in providing access and growth in the sport. So
not enough. We have had some diversity. We've definitely had quite a few women go through the program. At times we've been 50% women in the program. But certainly it hasn't been enough. So that's really part of what we're a little bit more focused on now, is making sure that message gets out there, because it's, it supports it operates under the umbrella of CRI, so it needs to support that mission. And
exactly. Yeah, that's what I was telling you earlier. That's what I love about CRI. What keeps me there is that rowing for all philosophy.
Right.
And you really see it play out in all the programs. But we can all work harder on opening up access, I think.
Yeah. Right. Because I think we can open up and reflect more diversity in the coaching ranks. That's going to help.
Absolutely.
Diversity in the rowing ranks, and vice versa. The more we can get diversity in the rowing ranks, it's going to trickle up into the coaching ranks as well. But we don't want to wait for that.
So the individualized here, I took your hallmarks, and it really refers to the low student to teacher or instructor ratio. Tell us a little bit about how that affects the participants' experience.
Well, as I said, if the cohort is really somewhere between 6 and 12 people, then that's going to be the maximum student to teacher ratio. Our teachers are typically very accessible to all of the coaches. We get instructors from local colleges and universities. as well as people that are practicing, say, in the Boston area. Coaches in the Boston area as well come and teach at the IRL.
So you get a good network of contacts in the industry, for lack of a better word, the field community.
Exactly, and that really is one of the. I'd say that's one of the biggest values that most of the coaches say they walk away with. There's, I think we were talking about this earlier, but there's probably about 100 rowing programs in Massachusetts, and about 60 of them are right here in the Boston area.
That's amazing.
Most of them right on the Charles River, but not all. So we really try to make sure that people that come to the IRL leave with a really strong network, whether it's the instructors that they meet. As I said, most of them are people who are somewhat embedded in the coaching community or the rowing community. Most people are surprised to know that we have between 70 and 100 coaches on staff at CRI.
It's crazy.
Crazy. There's, as I said, 70 to 100 in any given year. So that right there is part of your network.
And I know if you practice what you preach at the IRL, because I am a member of CRI, and I cannot say enough about our coaches. You've really, led with it by example there. Do you find that any of the graduates go on to then do coaching training themselves? Like to are they equipped to teach other coaches?
You mean, do they go on to become teachers?
Yeah.
I don't know about that. I don't know that answer. I
Probably
know
some, but
there might be some. I'm actually not sure about that. I know that we've had obviously a huge number of coaches go on and just do it what we sort of think they might do, which is they coach. Whether that's at the high school level, we have a lot of high school, Division 1, Division 3. We have several people, I think I can think of 3 off the top of my head, that started their own rowing programs from scratch. We've had people, we typically have, and I think right now there are 2 people working at the head of the Charles, and working in that environment. So people go on and do all kinds of different things in the rowing community. And I'm sure there are some people who go on and do something different.
Sure. Yeah.
We actually have some who are doing. I know 1 or 2 who went on to do PT work, who got their degree in physical therapy.
Interesting. Yeah. There's a lot of. I think we should all be born with a, physical therapist assigned to us. Wouldn't that be nice? And a coach.
Yeah. In fact, Erin is coming back. She is actually teaching a course at CRI right now. So I don't know how I forgot about that, but she's an IRL grad and she's teaching a sports medicine and injury prevention class at CRI like this week.
Awesome. Erin?
She's married now. Her maiden name is McConnell, but I don't know what her, I'm going to look it up.
Yeah. It might be the one I went to Portugal rowing camp with. I'm not sure.
Possibly. Yeah.
Erin. Yeah. And then the last item on this list was accreditation by the United States
U.S. Center for Coaching Education.
What does that mean, and how is that different from U.S. rowing?
Well, U.S. rowing doesn't accredit other institutions. Although you do, when you do the IRL, you will become a level 1 and a level 2 certified coach. We also get everybody to, we have a couple people who do the NCAA compliance exam. So we have a person, I think from BC and MIT, who come in and teach the NCAA rules, and we take the compliance exam. We get everybody through Safe Sport, through CPR, through Boat US. We won't do level 3 training for U.S. rowing level 3. That's just something that they reserve for. It's people. They have a different category for that. So
got it. Yeah. Okay.
We do have everybody do level 1 and level 2 with U.S. rowing.
Okay. But they're going to have a lot of good information right at hand if they decided to go into that.
Yeah, I think the
that
people
training.
who people who've gone on and done level 3 certification will find that a lot of the material they have covered
Right.
during their year at the IRL.
And so I was going to go into a few questions that I synthesized from the reaction when I posted about this episode. First of all, at this break, we'll remind people that we are Ready Row USA, and all information is available at readyrowusa.com. We're speaking with CB Sands-Bohrer, the Senior Manager for Coaching Education at Community Rowing in Boston. Gosh, I could say that 5 times, couldn't I? So one kind of question was, is it any different? Do you have anything that you're just kind of like taking a big breath and trying new stuff, or are you taking the same template model?
I would say there are small changes that we hope will make it easier for people to attend. So the way that the IRL, I would say, is the same is it's, as I said, it's a 1-year graduate level course in rowing coaching. We still cover in-depth things like biomechanics, nutrition, finances, rigging, sports-specific things about technique and training plans and coaching novices, and I've probably forgotten something. Regatta management, because even if you're just doing a high school program, you still need to manage your dual races. The things that we're changing slightly is to change the schedule a little bit so that the spring and fall seasons, which obviously people are going to be doing a lot of coaching and they're a little more stressed out in those seasons, we're going to take the course load down a little bit. And then the winter season will be a little bit heavier course load. We are taking a couple of courses and making them optional that someone could do, say, either post-graduation, or if they could fit it in during the year, they can. So an example of a course like that would be like our boat repair course. Almost everybody, I would say everybody needs to know the rigging part, but the actual hands-on boat repair, which is it's a lot of work in the shop.
Do you actually do like the fiberglassing and stuff like that? Oh my God.
Yeah, you learn it. You learn the whole thing. So instead of having that be a required course in the IRL, we're going to take that and make that a hands-on paid optional internship, so that somebody could work for 2 or 3 weeks in the shop, get all that knowledge, but you don't necessarily have to do that, because some people aren't going to be in programs or aren't going to take a career path where they know how to fix a boat. But if you're somebody who's going to start your own rowing program, or even if you're going to coach a high school program, you're not going to have your own boatman, and you probably will benefit from that. But we're going to maybe make that optional. So there are a couple little changes like that. I think the other thing that we're really going to stress is that we're just more dedicated to making sure that tuition is not going to be a barrier for anybody. And for anybody that is really, dedicated to coming to the IRL, a full-time job at CRI can complete a full-time paid job at CRI. The IRL would be one of your benefits. So you could go for free. And if you're going to coach part-time, then the tuition would be significantly reduced. So we're definitely committed to making sure that if someone wants to come to the IRL, we're going to make it happen.
And you're doing some active outreach to organizations that represent underserved or underrepresented communities.
Yeah, going back to the original statement, we really just strongly encourage a more diverse group of people to apply, and to do that, we have to do our work and reach out to those people.
Right.
Yeah.
And then we covered this a little bit, but someone was asking, will we be able to do hands-on coaching? And then you mentioned the U.S. rowing certification relationship, but
the hands-on coaching part, actually everybody is required to do hands-on coaching. So I would say at a minimum, you have to be coaching 6 days a week.
Right.
And that is really, it's a great part of the IRL, because that helps you to make it right for you. So So there are some people who want to coach at CRI because if you're at CRI, you could coach juniors. You could, you could get involved in our our para program, or U.S. what's the Paralympic.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember what the terminology was. But some people want to get involved in para or just more of a community boathouse or coach novices. You can do that right at CRI.
I remember when we had the Charles River Rowing League that, I did that. It was so much fun. I brought a few people in, and they've gone on to do rowing at CRI, but
so some people will coach right at CRI, and those are all paid positions.
Okay.
Sometimes people get jobs, say, at a local high school. I don't even know how many there are. There's got to be 10 or 20 or even 30 right in the Boston area. And then some people want to do most of the Division I college programs have a volunteer assistant position. Those are unpaid. But it's a great way to, even if you don't plan on doing D1 coaching, coaching at a D1 school is a great way to really get an understanding of how do those programs establish team culture, leadership, management, fundraise, all kinds of things like that. So that might be the right path for some people, even if that's not what their final end goal is.
Good. Well, we have some fun facts. We have about 8 or 10 minutes left. You provided to us, so you can just go through these as I roll through them for the people who are watching. Oh gosh, I have to put the video on. Yeah, there you go. So this is pretty cool. 80% of the graduates are accepted jobs before graduation.
Yeah, and I mean, just to sort of add to that, the coaching job that, because as I said, we require everybody to be coaching. We've pretty much had people coaching at all the local clubs and universities on the river. So Harvard, MIT, BU, Northeastern, Boston College, the men, the women who, if you want to do your practicum at one of those schools, whether it's a volunteer assistant, they're usually more than happy to have an IRL fellow there, because they just know that they're dedicated to learning and, and coaching and doing a great job. So it's pretty easy to get placement after you've had that kind of an experience.
And it must be fun to see them kind of fan out across the country. Do you keep in touch with most of the grads?
Oh yeah, I was just looking at that list that you posted. I think a good chunk of the Tufts coaching staff right now is IRL fellows. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, there's an IRL grad at Harvard right now. Yeah, they're all over the place.
And Tom Siddall is coaching at Tufts, right? Yeah, I thought so. Yeah, I had him on the program in December.
Yeah,
and then you had a few people who were, you mentioned Kirsten Gerard, Roman Sammartino, Rachel. I know Rachel Purrington.
Yeah, she's right.
Yeah, she does communications, I think. Loyola Marymount, Colorado.
Yep, Roman's in Colorado. Yep,
many different places. Yeah. Well, let's wrap up with anything you want to say about the IRL that we didn't cover, or that would help people sort of realize this might be for them, or that they might want to tell a colleague about.
I think the general idea is that when we launched the IRL, it was going back to the idea of people that their lives have been changed by rowing. And, we really have created and sustained it to launch people who are passionate about rowing into the rowing community. And, we just want to continue to do that. So if somebody, as I said at the beginning, wants to jump into coaching or to relaunch their coaching career, I just think this is a great place to do it. Yeah. And we'll do everything we can to support somebody.
Yeah, I'm sort of a fangirl about it, because I just see it in action. I see the people that come out of it. I see the coaching, and I think it's, I very much appreciate what you're doing there.
Well, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, you're welcome. I'm just going to mention a few things before we close out, and then we will take it from there. We have slide 15. A few things coming up that I'm really excited about. We have on March 8th, we have Ryan Worth and Jason Cottingham are going to be doing an episode, or their episode producing on ocean rowing. So the Atlantic Challenge has just wrapped up. These people that row 3,500 miles across the ocean, and so that's going to be fun. And Ryan Worth, he did row across the Atlantic at one point.
Wow.
A few years ago. Yeah, he lost like 40 pounds or something. Anyway, we're doing one on the arts of rowing. So we're going to have artists and authors and sculptors and painters who do express their love of rowing through their art. We're going to continue with our club spotlights. So anything, any clubs out there that want us to spotlight or highlight you, I love doing that. I just love dropping in on these, especially just, little clubs that are just doing their own thing on, I don't know, Upper Peninsula of Michigan or something. It's really cool to see that. And I think it helps helps them feel like there's a community around them. Building the club, we do a learn to row in June. And then that transition between after learn to row and kind of keeping the people in the club and keeping rowing is kind of a transition that's worth focusing on. Rowing to recovery, we're going to do cancer, addiction, and trauma, and how rowing aids in grief as well in recovery. The Rowing Industry Trade Association, we're Ready Row USA as a member, and we are going to see what they're doing in terms of advocating for vendors and people who are in the industry. Great group. Athletic tech, and that's one thing I just love. I love my tech. It doesn't help my rowing. I love all these wearable things, and I guess it does to some extent help your rowing if you know what your stroke rate and pressure and stuff is. But so that's fun. We'd love to have you connect with us on social media. Use the hashtag ReadyRowUSA, subscribe and review us on the podcast steps in YouTube, and you can win some good stuff from people like Sykes and Resolute, our sponsors. Burnham Boat Slings has pledged some accessories for people who do that, and Good Inklings. You can probably get a cool little web service from Laura. I'll have to ask her about that. But again, CB, I just love knowing that this program is coming back, and if we can help you get out the word, on an ongoing basis, we'd love to do that. And hopefully you can use this to refer.
Yeah, I think we will.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, if we can help you, let me know.
Oh, indeed. Yeah, I'll be around the boathouse when the ice goes out.
It's coming.
It's coming. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Have a good day.
Bye.
Bye-bye.